Welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm Kathleen Walter. With us now is former Pennsylvania Senator and GOP presidential candidate Rick Santorum. Senator Santorum is now the CEO of Light Studios, a faith and family film production company. And Senator Santorum, congratulations on your new position.
Well, thank you, Kathleen. It's really exciting to get engaged and involved on sort of the other end of the political spectrum, if you will. I mean, I always feel like the popular culture is a big influencer on politics and the direction of our country, and I've sort of been involved on the political side, but have not been involved on the popular culture side. So it's really it's an exciting opportunity for me, and hopefully one that we can go out and provide some great, uplifting, and positive content.
Senator, can you share with us what you'll be doing with Light, and does this mean you're ruling out a presidential bid in 2016?
Well, it's funny. I get that question all the time, and obviously, when I'm not running for office, unlike maybe some other people, I actually have to work and provide for my family and get a job and earn income. And so, I've been doing a lot of different things since the presidential race ended a little over a year ago, and this opportunity came around and started to get involved with the company, as I said, as well as some other companies, and just decided to focus more of my attention on this. And take the reins as the CEO of a company. I thought it'd be a great thing to do from the standpoint of trying to impact the culture, a great thing to do to help the country, and a great opportunity to get some experience in managing a company and bringing it to its success.
Senator Santorum, a big story tonight is immigration. The Senate just passed bipartisan immigration legislation. If you were still in the Senate, would you have voted for it?
No, I would not. Can't say how disappointed I am that every time the media stirs up a pot or we have a tough election, we immediately believe that the way to solve the problem of winning an election is to move and become more like the other side. And buy into their rhetoric and to their view of how we should run this country. And that is not an answer to bring America's economy back. It's not an answer to bring our country and our society to a stronger and better values. And so I'm disappointed the Senate passed that bill. I would not have voted for it, and I'm hopeful the House will do something. I think we need to do something on the immigration issue. No question about it, but I hope the House will do something that is much more reasonable and frankly, adheres to the rule of law and understands the impact of that Senate immigration bill on the budget and on the economy, and particularly lower and moderate income workers. I mean, this is not going to be a good news story for a lot of people in this country from who are going to see wages depressed and potentially lose jobs if what happens in this Senate bill, which is a lot of people, most of whom are going to be lower skilled workers, are going to be ending up legalized in this country, and more on the way.
The Senate legislation faces a tough road ahead. Speaker Boehner has indicated that he might not even bring it to a vote. Do you think that we'll have an immigration bill signed into law this year?
I think it would be a great thing if we could do something to have a more rational immigration policy, and I'm talking about legal immigration policy that encourages the best and the brightest and brings people over here that want to be Americans and can and will assimilate into what the American culture is all about. I also think we have to deal with the problem of security and border security, and we have to deal with the problem. We have 10 or 11 million people here who are not here legally, and all of these things do call for the Congress to act and for the President to act. But the way they've gone about it, which is sort of to sweep the problem of illegal immigration under the rug and just said, well, we're going to grant eventually amnesty to all of those folks and put them on the road to citizenship, is not the way to deal with this problem.
Yesterday, the Supreme Court struck down the Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA. What is your take? Do we now have an activist Supreme Court that's unafraid to rewrite our laws or Constitution?
I wish I could say this is the first time I've seen the court do it, but two things happened over the last week that really should send shivers down the spine of freedom-loving Americans. When I say that, I mean people on the left and on the right. What people on the left and right need to understand is that our Constitution is established a country where the people rule, where we are a republic, that of course the people elect our elected representatives to represent them, but these elected representatives are accountable to them, and if they're not doing things that they want them to do, then they are changed, and as a result the laws can change. What we saw this week with President Obama's speech on climate change, where he basically said, I don't care what the elected people in this country, that the people in this country elected, I don't care what they say. Here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to force it on the country, irrespective of what the law says. And then the next day or 2 days later, the Supreme Court hands down a decision and says that anybody who doesn't support, a changing of a fundamental definition of marriage, which is a foundational principle of our and staple of our society. Anybody that doesn't agree with a redefinition of this basic doctrine is a hater, is irrational, is someone who simply wants to discriminate against somebody else. This and then strikes down a perfectly legitimate law defining what marriage is, under the grounds that the only reason you could have this opinion is because you hate people who happen to be in same-sex relationships. That is outrageous. It's an outrageous abuse of power by the president. It's an outrageous abuse of power by the court, and it tells you whether you're on the left or the right. The left may love these decisions, but what these decisions have done is open up the door for this type of raw, brute force from people who believe themselves that are above the process that our Constitution created. And that should scare people on both sides of the aisle.
Nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News commentator Charles Krauthammer says Wednesday's rulings will inevitably lead to the overturning of all the laws in all the states that disallow gay marriage. Do you believe that will be the case, and is national gay marriage coming?
I was out 10 years ago when there was a decision back in 2003 when Lawrence versus Texas was decided by the United States Supreme Court, and I said, this is going to, within 10 years, we're going to see gay marriage in this country if we don't do something now to protect this institution. And I haven't been that far off. And everyone at the time said, "Oh, this is ridiculous. It'll never happen. We don't need to go to these draconian measures at this point." The bottom line is the court has stepped in and is short-circuiting the process here. And if in fact it does happen, and I'm not sure it will, if the court doesn't continue to interject itself, but if the court does what it seems obvious they're doing when they say that you can't be opposed to the redefinition of marriage unless you're a hater or a bigot, then it seems pretty obvious to me that, and when another case comes up, that they're going to establish some sort of constitutional right or find that marriage is unconstitutional in its current form. That to me will put the death knell in it. But in the meantime, no, I'm not convinced that it's going to happen. I think the more we debate this issue and see the consequences of what a redefining of marriage is and the impact on family and society, I think yes, things are changing now. It seems like it's gone, but I think there's a lot of areas of this country that are going to hold firm to what they know is the truth and what they know is best for children and for families and for society. And there will continue to be a battle. And if the Supreme Court doesn't weigh in, I think it's a battle just like Roe versus Wade that will be waged a long time. And I think when people begin to see the consequences of the changing of the marriage laws and its impact on children, its impact on marriage and on families and on civilization, I think you'll see this issue become to turn back around and go in our favor again.
Let's turn to abortion now and pro-life issues. A growing number of states are passing tougher abortion laws. In Texas, Governor Perry plans to have a special session to pass tougher laws there. What's your take on Governor Perry's special session?
Well, I think what happened in the Texas legislature was is really just another example of how extreme those on the other side of this issue are. I mean, this is a bill that did two things. Number one, that said that if a pregnancy that's halfway through, that's 5 months into a pregnancy, that after that point the child has rights that we have to respect, that the child can feel pain, might even be able to survive, and that we shouldn't allow abortions after that. Now, most people in America, when I say most, 80% plus people in America would agree with that point of view, not the radicals on in the Democratic Party who control the Democratic Party, who influence the Democratic platform, and that have this abortion anytime for any reason. They opposed, they filibustered this bill that does that and provides basic sanitary standards for abortion clinics, things that you would want any medical facility to have as far as sterilization and cleanliness. But no, when it comes to this issue of abortion, there can be no limitation that could put any kind of restraint or restriction on abortion clinics. This is the extreme nature of this right that was created by out of whole cloth by the United States Supreme Court. And I'm glad Governor Perry has fought back, scheduled another special session, and I fully expect that bill to pass and it become law.
On a separate issue, President Obama says he will not get personally involved in the Edward Snowden case, which is creating diplomatic tensions between the U.S. and Moscow. The president says he won't scramble jets for the former U.S. spy agency contractor who's facing charges of espionage. Are you satisfied with how the president is handling this?
The president's handling this the way he handles almost every international crisis, which is just sort of sit back and let America get pushed around and be indecisive, threaten things and then not follow through with things, use tough language without any tough actions. This is the paper tiger that the Obama foreign policy has been in evidence now for almost 5 years, and it's having a huge impact. When you see two major players on the world stage, China and Russia, thumb their nose at this president, after this president for 5 years has been on a charm offensive with Russia, is trying to reset the relationship with China and Russia because of the destructive relationship that George Bush had there. And you can see what resetting the relationship means. It means that our adversaries do not fear us. They are not concerned about what we believe or what we want, and our enemies do not trust us because we are not reliable allies to stand with them and behind them. So we have seen America reach a low that we have not seen since the days of Jimmy Carter with respect to our standing in the international community.
Last question for you, Senator Santorum. Another IRS official has invoked his Fifth Amendment right at an investigative hearing on Wednesday. Meantime, the IRS claims its payout of $70 million in bonuses was mandatory. And on Tuesday, we learned that IRS employees were supposedly buying romance novels, diet pills, and even porn on the taxpayer's dime. How should lawmakers hold the IRS accountable for all of this?
You got to be careful holding the IRS accountable because they can turn their sights on you and accuse you of a whole bunch of things that you've done on your income taxes. And of course, anybody that's ever dealt with the IRS knows that you're guilty until proven innocent. And this is a rogue organization. And I say a rogue organization not because of the people in the IRS are uniquely bad at what they do or seek to be bullies. It is the nature of the beast when you accumulate that much power in any organization. The federal government is this behemoth that we are creating, and particularly the IRS, with this incredible power that we've given them, this power to single out any group or any person for extra scrutiny and audits and abuse, and again the threat of any kind of action that they take, which again, any kind of accusation is true unless you can prove them wrong. I mean, it's counter to everything that we would expect out of our from our constitutional protections. That's why I've said that this organization has proven that it's not responsive to any kind of oversight. It's irretrievable in its in any quest to try to reform it. And as a result, I've been joined the chorus to repeal the 16th Amendment. I think we have to get rid of an income tax which puts that kind of power over every working American who files a tax form. We have to take that kind of power away from Washington, D.C., and we have to go back to a system like we had before the income tax, where we had excise taxes and taxes on consumption as a way to fund the federal government. And I'm going to be looking at different options and certainly getting behind and proposing something in the future as an alternative to the income tax.
All right, we look forward to that. Senator Rick Santorum, thanks so much for being with us today. And again, congratulations on your new position.
Thank you, Kathleen. It's a pleasure, and I look forward to coming back on when we get a chance to talk about when some of our movies are coming out.
Absolutely. I look forward to that as well.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.